So the hypocrisy of Black Americans is interesting to me, and I'm referring to Tyler. People are coming out to say that because as a colored South African, that Black Americans pulled their dollar from behind her. This is being tone deaf and lacking cultures as Black Americans. What Black Americans fail to realize that if we were in Africa, specifically South Africa, we too would be deemed as colored people because we are not 100% West African. 100% West Africans are Bantu people. We begin to look at blacks in America. We are a conglomerate of Native Indian and our swarthy or Black European ancestors coming over as free Negroes and free mulattoes. And then you have a small percentage of the West African DNA due to the fact that the majority of West Africans in the transatlantic slave trade went over into the Caribbean. Granted, we also had free West Africans in the United States before the 1600s. It is very essential to realize that over 80% of Black Americans in America were reclassified from Native Indian, from Creole, and from Cajun if they could pass for being West African. This began to take place in the 1700s. So when someone like Tyler comes in from the other side of the world, instead of blacks in America being willing to understand other people's cultures, they begin to force other people to acclimate to their culture, which they do not even realize would be classified as different by people whom are 100% pure-blooded West Africans. This is why when you begin to have a conversation with Haitians in particular, it's because they know that they are Igbos. They begin to say in Creole, nous say Igbo. When you begin to look at those in Brazil, a lot of them know that they are the Yoruba. Yoruba in Hebrew with the L or the Lamad added is Yerubbaal, which is the son of Gideon, who is from the tribe of Ephraim. The Yoruba have an oral tradition of fleeing from Spain and Portugal, going into Morocco and into the Caribbean because they were fleeing away from the polytheistic Byzantine Empire. And they were called the strange people by Native Africans because they knew that they were not Canaanites and they knew who these people were. We have to begin to realize that when we begin to look at Black Americans, our tribes were taken from us due to the fact that in the 1800s, we were tribal people. Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Samoan. You still have remnants of these peoples in the America today, i.e. the Gullah Geechee. They've always known that they are the Gullah Geechee. The Gullah Geechee still carries on their Fulani traits by using henna, by dipping their fingers and their feet in blue. You still have some people in Louisiana who still speak French Cajun, who still speak French Creole. And this is due to the fact that their ancestors was able to stay classified as these things, but also some of their ancestors ended up passing for white. Blacks in America are not a monolith, whereas blacks in America in Africa are not a monolith either. They just continue to have their tribes because they never left home. And a lot of these places, even though they were colonized, we have to realize that the people who were colonizing them were the free Negroes and the free mulattoes in Spain, in Europe, and Portugal with Gentiles amongst them, but they were never taken away from their land masses and sold into chattel slavery. And when they were, they did not lose their tribal titles. You can find the Mandi, the Mendika. You can find the Sherbro people all in the Caribbean because they were taken by tribe into certain fields, because you had them people who were watching what type of crops they began to use. So when you begin to look at the Soninke, and when you begin to look at the Mendi and the Mandinka, they ran the trades between West Africa, between Spain, between Portugal. Therefore, they knew what crops were being brought into the Americas from Africa, i.e. your okra, i.e. your plantain. These things were brought in from West Africa. So when you have someone like Tyler saying, in South Africa, I'm a colored, do we not realize that blacks in America were also called colored? The word color means hue. The Moors, who were the Israelites, I'm not talking about Arab born, I'm talking about the Moriscos, those of us who were converted to Islam under Arabic rule. It comes from the same definition of Muladwad or Muladi, those born amongst the Arab but not of Arab blood. They were called the Huguenots in France. So the Huguenots, the colored, these are the same words to begin to describe the Jews. Negro means black, because you are colored, you are penciled in, you are a mixed, mingled people. When you begin to look at the root of Arab, it begins to come from the word that not only means dark, the reverse root, but it begins to mean mixed and mingled. And this is because you were sold, and those of us that were free went into different land masses. We became semi-nomadic, whereas the other tribes continue to be sedentary. We have to realize that there's more than meets the eye. And so all words used to describe us have become bywords because our tribes have been taken away. There is something that the blacks in Americas could learn from the West Africans, could learn from the South Africans, could learn from the Indians and the Asians and the ones who are in America and know that they are Native Indian, are in American and know that they are of Spanish descent, are in American and know that they are of French Creole descent, and are realizing that Creole is still of a Latin descent, because you were in Spain and in Portugal, and then you were in France. Then your people went into the Caribbean. That everyone that's French descendant in America are not from Haiti. Although Creole is called Creole in Igbo, and Creole, that double L, that ILLO, goes back to amarillo or yellow in Spanish, and yellow goes back to Edo in the Edo of Nigeria, and Edo means red. We have to realize that this great dissemination between us is spiritual. And that even the Native Americans began to immigrate from Sumer, from Saudi Arabia, from Northeast Africa into the Americas, 6000 BC, 2000 BC, 1000 BC, 1500 BC, 600 AD, 525 AD. We're still West African. We just happen to be in the Americas and go into Europe, whereas our brothers, our sisters, our cousins stayed in West Africa. Like, come on, y'all. And to let you know, Negro blood, West African, Bantu blood of all these people groups were in Europe in these same time spans, going back to 500 AD, but even before then, we're everywhere.